Hi everyone, this is Amanda from Easy English Online. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited about this video as I've been talking about it for some time now. But first of all, if you're new to this channel, I've been teaching English to foreign students now for a number of years. If you would like to learn more or have one-to-one lessons with me, then click on the link below and that will give you a special deal on English lessons, so please check that out. So are you ready for this? Because we are going to start our 8-week challenge mini course on the 8 parts of speech. Today I'm going to give you a summary of all of the 8 parts of speech, and then there'll be a video each week which will go into each part in more detail. So let's dive straight in. Okay, so the 8 parts of speech. In the English language, there are 8 parts of speech: nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Every word we use is a part of speech. Now, each part of speech indicates how the word is used in a sentence. It's a category of words which have similar grammatical properties. A single word can function as more than one part of speech in different situations. So let's look at the different types of speech in more detail. Let's start with nouns. A noun is a word which identifies a person, a place, a thing, an idea, or names of one of them. For example, a girl, a boy, a dog, Peter, town, London, book. A noun is often used with an article, so a, an, or the, but not always. Proper nouns start with a capital letter, like for example Peter or London, and common nouns do not. They can be singular or plural, concrete or abstract. This may sound a little complicated, but really it isn't. Please see my next video in the series for more details on nouns. Now, the next part of speech that we're going to look at are pronouns. Do you remember what pronouns are? A pronoun is a word that is used instead of a noun or a noun phrase. They refer to a thing that has already been mentioned previously, or to a noun that does not need to be named specifically. For example, I, you, me, he, she, herself, himself, it, that, they, or someone, etc. In this sentence, Peter saw Mary and he called out to her. The pronouns he and her take the place of the nouns Peter and Mary. Otherwise, we would be saying Peter saw Mary and Peter called out to Mary. This sounds a bit of a mouthful, so using he and her sounds much more natural to a native speaker. Peter saw Mary and he called out to her. Now, our next part of speech that we're going to look at are verbs. What are verbs? A verb can be thought of as a doing word. It can be used to describe an action that's doing something. For example, to jump, to sing, or to laugh. Verbs can also be used to describe a state of being or a feeling. For example, to like, to love, to hate. Or a verb can be used to describe an occurrence. That's something that's happening. For example, the word became. The caterpillar became a butterfly. Or verbs like to happen or to present. There are many more types of verbs, such as main verbs, auxiliary verbs, modal verbs, etc. Please see my video on verbs to understand these in more detail. Now, the next part of speech that we're going to look at are adjectives. An adjective, of course, describes or modifies a noun or a pronoun. It describes a person, a place, or a thing. It tells us more about it. It gives us more information. For example, the little girl was hungry. The cake was delicious. Adjectives can also complement linking verbs or the verb to be. For example, it smells gross in the locker room. Driving is faster than walking. Adjectives can tell you how many of something you're talking about too, like 2 red roses. 2 and red are adjectives that are modifying the roses. Now, adjectives also come in different forms: absolute, comparative, superlative. I discuss these in more detail in another video. Now let's look at adverbs. Do you remember what adverbs are? So an adverb describes or modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. It tells us how often, where, or when something happens. For example, fast, easily, completely, never, last year. A lot of adverbs end in ly. For example, slowly, quickly, cheerfully. So he moves slowly in the morning. Slowly here tells us how something happens. Slowly is an adverb of manner. Mary cheerfully greeted her parents yesterday. Here we have 2 adverbs. Cheerfully is an adverb of manner, and yesterday is an adverb of time. The most common types of adverbs are adverbs of manner, frequency, place, time, and degree. Adverbs of manner tell us how something is done. It's done quietly, it's done noisily. Adverbs of frequency tell us how often something is done. For example, always, never. Adverbs of place tell us where something happens. For example, inside the house, above the shelf. Adverbs of time tell us when something happens. For example, today, tomorrow, soon. And adverbs of degree tells us to what extent something happens. For example, really cold, so excited, very cruel. Okay, so now let's have a quick look at prepositions. What is a preposition? A preposition shows the relationship of a noun phrase, or a pronoun to another word. For example, on, in, at, from, about, for, with. I left some dinner in the fridge for you to have later. There are many types of prepositions. For example, prepositions of time, place, movement, manner, etc. This is a massive topic, so please see my other video on this for more detail. Now for our next part of speech, conjunctions. Do you remember what conjunctions are? Okay, so a conjunction joins words, ideas, phrases or clauses together in a sentence and shows how they are connected. Conjunctions allow you to form more complex, elegant sentences and helps you to avoid a series of short, simplistic ones like I like cooking, I like eating, etc. Some examples of conjunctions are because, until, and, but, if, so, therefore, since, and there are many others. So let's have a look at a sentence with conjunctions in. I was cold and hungry, but I still kept walking. Here we have two conjunctions, and but. And shows that I felt both cold and hungry together. And but joins the first clause to the second and shows contrast. Okay, on to our next part of speech. Interjections. What are interjections? An interjection is a word or a phrase that expresses a strong feeling or emotion. It's usually said in a short exclamation. For example, wow, yuck, ouch. Wow, that's amazing. Yuck, that looks awful. Ouch, I've dropped the brick on my foot. Now, it is important to note that a word can sometimes be more than one part of speech, depending on its function. For example, the price of petrol increased last year. Here, increased is a verb. There was an increase in the number of followers on my YouTube channel. Here, increase is a noun. Well, that's it for today's video. So you've just heard a brief summary on the 8 parts of speech. And next week, we'll be talking about nouns. So don't forget to press both of those like and subscribe buttons below, so you get notified when the next video is released. As always, to accompany this video, I've prepared some notes which you can download. So if that interests you, please just click on the link below and you can download it straight away. See you next time.